I think it's time to have a garden tour. What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray, and thank you so much for joining me today here in the garden. And it has been a minute since I did a garden tour. I completely forgot to do one in the month of May. Just got busy doing other projects and did not do it. So here we are in June, and it is time to do a garden tour. I did do an early season garden tour of this garden before any of the perennials had come up, just to show you the contrast between what it is in the winter to what it is now. So if you have not seen that garden tour, go check it out. And if I remember, I will link it right up here or here, wherever the link button shows up. But let's jump right into it. I'm gonna flip the camera around. It's a beautiful night tonight. There's some clouds in the sky. It's dusky, perfect lighting to just have a nice stroll around the garden and show you some plants. So here we go. Come along and let's see what we can see. All right, so here we are. Let's do a panoramic kind of view here so you can kind of get the lay of the land. I'm having issues with my pool, guys, so ignore the plotches in the pool. My filter is kicking out sand, so I'm gonna have to do some work on my filter. But other than that, we're doing all right over here. So let's just start right here at the big purple pot. So this is a pineapple sage that I have as my centerpiece in this container. It is supposed to have these yellowy leaves. This is not an iron shortage. It's not iron deficient. Smells absolutely wonderful. And I have some Calla or super bells in the pot with it. And when this gets bigger, it'll put big flower spikes up towards the end of the season. That should be really pretty. Some sedums growing up here, got some blooms on them. Some daylilies there. We've got Brussels sprouts here. We've got cabbages here. We've got some plants that still need to be dealt with. I've got okra coming up right here. That's what's growing up right there. I did have some kale here, but the kale's all gone, so now I've got okra coming up. My onions are getting ready to harvest. My onions are looking really good. So you can see those. I've got red onions and regular white onions, and these are both sweet onions. Strawberry pot. Look at the leeks. These leeks are just gorgeous right now. So pretty, standing above the garden. This is an allium right here. This is a green twister coneflower. I love this coneflower, or Echinacea. We have some lamb's ear, a sunflower. This is a volunteer. He seeded himself and came up from last year. So we're letting him do his thing, and I don't mind it. We've got our blueberries in here, and the blueberries are starting to ripen. They're turning that traditional blue color, so that's nice. Some black and blue salvia back there. Those are my daffodil bundles. We'll look at that on the other side of the wall. And then some hostas. There we go. I've got some impatiens in this pot. I've got some begonias in this pot. And then the creeping Jenny coming out of there as well. Foxgloves. Now this foxglove sent out 2 huge flower stalks, and they came up to about right here. And oh gosh, after a couple of weeks of that flower stalk being there, it was so pretty still. the dog bumped into it and knocked it over. But the plant has sent out more flower stalks trying to recover. So these are looking great. They're short and stubby, but hey, they're pretty. The bees have been loving them. There's an onion right there, another onion. This is just a green onion that I plant for ornamental value. Just a regular old shrub rose back here. Some more black and blue salvia. I've got a pink dahlia here. I don't remember the specific variety on this dahlia, but I do remember it's pink. And then we have one of the lilies here. How pretty is that? Purple daylily there. Let's see. That dianthus. This is the second bloom on the dianthus. It's looking really pretty. Right here on either side of the diving board, I have my tomatoes. So this is a regular tomato. This is a park swapper. And there are some green tomatoes on there. And then this one is a sun gold. And this is a volunteer sun gold that sprouted in, because I had a sun gold planted in this pot last year. And this one volunteered and came back in this pot this year. So I let it go. And I'm hoping that the fruit will be true to form. But if not, it's still fun to grow. So that's a risk you take with volunteer vegetables, is that depending on how they have cross-pollinated to create that seed, the fruit may be different than what you had the first year. But so far, I mean, they are producing cherry tomatoes. So we'll just see how they taste. All right, the other foxglove right here, another purple foxglove. You can see this branch has gotten broken, but the flowers are still hanging on. We've got a white echinacea here next to the bird bath. A big allium. This is an ambassador allium. So the remnants of it. It was the most glorious purple when it first came out. The gay feathers behind there are fixing to flush out. So they're already starting to, those are the flower heads. So they'll be flushing out here pretty soon. I've got some interesting celosia coming in down here. Some sage. This is tickseed coreopsis. Butterfly bush. Another white echinacea. Some more of the drumstick alliums. Aren't those so interesting, so pretty? They're not huge. They're just little small things. But they put out these big spikes, and they're just so wispy and pretty, and they just make a good addition. And I have these poking up amongst the perennial geranium. Some Rubeckia, black-eyed Susan, starting to bloom right there. I've got a drift of that through here. And here's our water fountain that we built a couple years ago. Looking good. Here's some more lamb's ear. This lamb's ear is going to flower, which I do let this flower because the pollinators love the lamb's ear blooms. Now, when lamb's ear goes to flower, it does tend to die out in a few spaces, but that's okay. It will flush back out. It'll survive, but it is looking really good. Just got to walk back here on the gravel patio. Got a real pretty orange calabricoa in this pot with some more creeping Jenny. This is my potato bed, so we'll have some potatoes to dig here before long. This is the Sweet Autumn Clematis. Here we are, the very 1st of June, and it is already massive. and we still have several months for it to grow. And you can actually see a succulent flower blooming amongst it. The Sweet Autumn Clematis has engulfed a succulent container that I really need to dig out of here, but have not done so at this point. And the little succulent flowers blooming out of it is just so pretty. Got some more Oriental Lilies coming up right here. These have not opened their blooms yet, but they are loaded. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blooms on that plant right now. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blooms on that one, and I'm sure it'll produce a few more. Right here we have Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. This is the proven winners, Supertunia Vista, and it is paired with a sweet potato vine in this container on the pedestal. Let me back up here, and if I look in here, you can see, and there's also a lantana in there, that we're on a pedestal in the big metal urn. And this is black and blue salvia poking up through here as well. Kind of back up. It's a really pretty mix. I've got a purple cone flower, Echinacea right there. A white Echinacea there. And this is Monarda or bee balm here. So you can see this is creating a really interesting mix. So I've got my small layers with the geranium and the bee balm, and then a kind of a middle story, and then the urn creates a top story, and then the Sweet Autumn Clematis really creates a backdrop, and then I've got these lilies as well. So this area is, while it is full, it is a very layered look that I am really enjoying. So here we have some Foxtail Fern. My peony right there is done blooming, so it's been sheared back. This is looking really good this year, this salvia. Let's look at our hanging basket next. Now, if you have been with my channel for a while, you got to see me plant this hanging basket. And it is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. You can see I put a black-eyed Susan vine in this basket so that it can trail up and over onto this arbor. And it's going to meet this hyacinth bean vine. This hyacinth bean vine is going to grow up, and then the two will intermix. So in addition to being just stunning in this pot with this coleus and this Supertunia and this Verbena, it's also going to provide me that yellow color just kind of mixed in through this vine with the purple flowers. I think at the end of the summer, I think this is going to be really pretty. So I'm enjoying the hanging baskets thus far. And the amount of growth that they've put on is just phenomenal from the time that we planted them up. There's an African daisy down there. It's looking really sweet. Here's our swing. And again, you can see this hyacinth bean vine has made it a little further up the pole than that one has. So this basket is also looking really good. Give it a little twirl so you can see. Looking good. You see another lily there. And I did plant gladiolus bulbs in my iris patch. So the irises have bloomed, they've done their thing for the season, and now I've got gladiolas coming up, and they'll give me some flowering interest for the rest of the season. And you can see I try to do a very symmetrical thing. So I've got the same things on this side as I do on this side to give me some balance. So there's another peony right there, another salvia right here, and then here's another fern, foxtail fern, with a firecracker plant. And then here we have another tick seed coreopsis. And this was a peach foxglove right here. And they had the most pretty peachy blooms. It was so pretty. And then this Clematis, when it was blooming, was so pretty. And then I like the seed heads that are left on a Clematis as well. So I don't prune those off. I leave those. Some more drumstick alliums. Some more coneflower. Some more sage. Look at these blueberries. How pretty are those looking? The plum tree is looking good. And now we're getting over here to the shade garden. It is getting a little dark for the shade garden, but let's press on and see what we can film here for you. This rose has been flowering its head off. It's a tractor seat plant back there under this begonia in an urn. This massive begonia is loving life here. Got some autumn ferns, a velvet plant back there, great big hosta. This was a bleeding heart right here. It has quit blooming, but looking good. Some more hostas. That is a Zephyrin Druin rose that I planted right there. So my goal is for him to climb up and then just run across the top of this fence. Here's my Japanese maple in the big blue pot. These hanging baskets are gorgeous. You got to see me plant these up in a video as well. So they're looking so good with their begonias and impatiens and all the things that are in here, just so pretty. I'm absolutely loving these baskets. The caladium leaves are just bringing so much interest to them, as well as, I mean, these begonias. I mean, come on, can you stand it? How pretty is that? The hydrangeas here. This one is flowering up, getting ready to go. This one is huge, it's growing big, so I'm hoping to get some blooms off of him soon. Here's our here's our tea plant, our Camellia sinensis, our tea plant. It needs a haircut, and I do believe I'm going to transplant him. I'm kind of not digging his spot in the garden anymore. But I've just got some massive hostas over here that are so pretty. At the base of this tree, I've got caladiums and impatiens ringing around. Got some more hostas, some columbine. There's an astilbe. Here's our fish pond. Here's a heuchera. So the shade garden is looking really pretty. Staghorn fern hanging from the tree. Now my lace cap hydrangea is been putting on a show right here next to the cherub fountain. I mean, how pretty, guys. So pretty. I love it. And let's get a shot here of the cherub fountain. I mean, just ringed with the pretty blooms. Great sound in the garden. I do have a Clematis that I just planted back there that I grew from a start that I hopefully will climb up this old bottle tree frame and give me another layer of interest in that corner. Another big hosta. Maidenhair fern in this pot here. Here, let's swing around right here and look at the Calla Lily. The Calla Lilies are blooming, looking really pretty here at the patio. I've got a sun patience in our flea market store find. I did a video about this pot, finding this pot and this top and spray painting them to match to become a set. So that was a fun trash to treasure video kind of deal, flea market-y video. And the Sun Patience is loving it in it. Here's my antique cast iron cream separator. It makes just the most wonderful plant stand for a little corner of the garden. And here, let me pull my fern out for those of you who are new and haven't seen it before. So it's a cream separator. So you would pour your milk into the top, and it comes out, and this part right here would spin, and it would shoot the buttermilk out one side and the separated milk the other side. So that's how an old cream separator. And you can find these at flea markets, and they just make wonderful plant stands. Here's my crown of thorns plant. Wonderful pop. My boxwood there desperately needs to be pruned, but that's all right. Got this water fountain, and I've got some caladiums coming up from around it. Got just a basket of impatiens here. And then here's our standard Hydrangea Macrophylla. So it's putting on a one-sided display this year. All the blooms are on this side, but it is beautiful, and there is a ton of them. And then right here we have the wheelbarrow planter. So again, if you've never been to my channel before, this is a great tip. A fun old wheelbarrow that speaks to you, that you think looks fun, makes a great planter. You see I've got hostas coming out the bottom of it. And in top here this year, I've got some more begonias, impatiens, and caladiums. My flag there says, "Weeders welcome." So if you live in the area and you like to pull weeds, you just instant message me and we'll hook up and let you come pull weeds. That's a joke, guys. That's a joke. Now, if you have been following my videos for a while, I know I've got lots of subscribers that follow along. These are the cypress trees, the Italian cypresses, that this winter I planted on either side of the arbor over there. And I decided I didn't like it. So I moved them down here and put them in pots on either side of my big raised bed. My sweet peas are just about done. They need to be pulled out. Lettuces are looking good. My spinach is starting to flower, so it needs to be pulled out. Jalapenos, bell peppers. Look at this Peachy King verbena. How pretty is that? So this is Proven Winners Peachy King. Loving it, loving it. It's looking so good with this right here. And this is an agastache, or a hummingbird mint, one of the varieties of hummingbird mint. Here I've got dahlias. So I've got just a row of dahlias here in this raised bed, and I've got green beans planted behind the dahlias. So the green beans will go up the trellis, and then I'll have my dahlias in front. Here's the front of the potting shed. Looking good. So we've got some more dianthus. We've got some bacopa, some scaviola, some English ivy, a heuchera, a hosta, a dwarf Alberta spruce. So these are looking really, really good. Now, I've done a video about this before, but since we're here, some of you may think, what in the world is going on? So these are my daffodils, and this is how I deal with daffodils. Once your daffodils are through flowering, I come in with just regular garden twine and I bundle up the foliage and put them into bundles. That way they're not all flopped over, because daffodil foliage, once the blooms are done, flops over. And if I left them unbundled, they would flop on top of my hostas, they would get in the way. So I bundle them up, let them finish their life, because you don't want to take the daffodil leaves away, or else your bulbs won't get fed and your bulbs won't come back next year as vigorous. So you want to leave the daffodil foliage so that they can feed those bulbs as much as possible. But in addition to these bundles keeping the leaves out of the way of the other plants, when it is time to get rid of them, to cut them out for the season, they're already in bundles. So all I have to do is bring a pair of shears in and lop them off, take the bundle, throw it away, lop it off, take the bundle, throw it away, lop it off, take the bundle, throw it away. So a few minutes of work with some garden twine on the front end saves so much headache on the back end with your daffodil foliage. Now down here at the bottom of the wall, you can see the puppy, but you can also see my lilies. So I've got lots of lilies planted along the bottom of the wall here. So we've got daylilies, we've got Easter lilies, there's some other things planted in there. And it is really getting dark, guys. But there are some beautiful daylilies in here. And so just a fun way to bring some color into a very narrow strip of space that otherwise would be hard to utilize. Bubble gum. And then this right here, this daisy, so pretty. I've got a zinnia patch here, so I'll have some zinnias coming up, and you can see there's already some sprouting. I put the seeds out. All right, so as I was editing this video, I decided I'm gonna end it right here because we kind of made full circle around the back garden. And I'm gonna save the front yard for a different garden tour because this video is already getting kind of long. But I hope you've enjoyed this backyard tour of the back garden here at Horticulture Geek. Hopefully you've seen something you liked, maybe you saw something that inspired you. Now I tried to go slow so that you could understand what I was saying and really see everything. I didn't obviously call the names of every single plant out here in the garden, but if you have questions or comments, hey, leave those down below. I would love to hear what you have to say, answer any questions I might could answer, or try to identify something if you saw something that you thought was pretty and didn't know what it was. I'll do my best. Some of the things, it's hard to remember. When you get so many plants in the ground, it's hard to remember every single little thing, but we'll do our best. So again, I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next tour, which will be in the front yard. I'll show you that. It won't be quite as long as this one, but to put that with this would make this video really long. So we're just gonna tap this one off right here. I hope you've enjoyed it. Follow along for more videos. I've got more information and more videos coming out soon. And you can also join me on Facebook and Instagram, Horticulture Geek, on both platforms. I post pictures and do things there as well. So I hope to see you on one of my platforms. Again, come back, watch another video. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell so that you know when the next videos post. But until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.